We're here to make a video about the creation of the Watergate chess set, which I did in 1972 and 73 during the Watergate scandal. I began the chess set in 1972 and 3, and that was, here it is, 2021. That was 50 years ago. And I am now just putting the final touches on this, which I consider my best edition of the Watergate chess set. And it's been a lifetime endeavor to present what I feel really illustrates what Watergate was about. It had more to do with the characters that were involved. It really played into the to using the chess set, using the chess format as a way to talk about opposing forces. And that's why I've always been interested in chess as an expression of art. I would love to share with you just the process I went through to create the chess set. In starting to sculpt the chess set, I started with Nixon, actually, and I'm thinking about his face. And I've collected all of my material, all of my research, but what matters mostly to me is getting his character. And to get that, I actually focus on how does he feel? What kind of an energy does he give off? I start with the nose, and I have loved caricatures of people, what cartoonists do, because they get the essence of what a face not exactly looks like, but what it feels like. And that is what guides me, really, to making a portrait of somebody. And that's what guided me with the chess set. His nose did slope like that, but not probably as much as I've made it slope. And that just gave that feeling of Nixon. I will do Nixon until he's completely finished. I stay with the character because as I begin from his nose, I don't really know how I am going to have him. I haven't decided first. I do not have a plan. One thing makes the next thing happen, and that's the creative process. That's what's exciting to me as an artist and as a sculptor, is that I'm on a little journey here with making Nixon. And so I will start with his face. When the face is completed, I may go to his arms, but I've decided maybe by then that I am going to have him with his hands up because he was always known by that gesture. So I actually will make the hands separately because the hands are they're like a face. It's almost like three faces. The most important part of each piece is the face, the hands, and then the rest supports it. Some of the things I love about this chess set that looking back at it now, that I think were fun and I don't exactly remember putting in the way back when is, Nixon's got a tape hiding behind his back here. He's got the seal of the president right here, and it's very, very detailed. It's all there. So those details just came along as I'm doing it. The original set was made in ceramic, so that the faces, when I did this final set, the faces were already made. They were ceramic, and I added the body and the chair, the throne, afterwards, and those were made in a polymer clay. And then I put them together, fired it again, and then it was cast into this final medium, which is a polystone, which has a proprietary mix to it. So what we have here are some of the original clay models. Of course, they have been somewhat broken up, because during the casting process, the original piece often is broken, getting it out of a rubber mold. The arms, and you'll see the feet of Nixon have come off. But you can see from here that the original face of Nixon was made in ceramic. because the original set that I made was ceramic. It was then molded with using rubber, and a wax model was made, and it was cast in bronze. The original set was cast in bronze. You can see here. You see, I used the head, and the original set looked like this. After the original is molded, it is then cast in what is known as polystone. It's a mixture of resin with a filler, and we use a caster from Sterling, Massachusetts. His name is Richard Felix. He's been with me for my entire career. He's an important part of my work because he is the only person, and he has made a proprietary medium in which to cast my work in. Here is the final casting of Nixon in the polystone. When the piece first comes out of the mold, it looks like this. It's just pure white. It's just the medium. The first step is to get something that brings out the detail. As you will see here on Nixon, the deeps, the pigment has been worked into the deeps, and this brings out the detail. It's almost like a black and white drawing of him now. The details of the presidential seal, you can see it. The details of this tape hidden behind his back, you can see it. His tie, his features. This is an important step in the process of finishing the piece. It needs to be colored. It needs to be finished by sanding off any rough spots. And I have a way of coloring that fits with the medium that Richard Felix has cast these in. I call it patining the piece rather than painting it, because it's a process of using powder pigments that I have mixed. It's rubbed in until it stains the piece. By using a reddish tone on one side and a bluish tone to tint the other side, I've designated the two sides of the chess set. Just to point out some of the features on the chess set that are not immediately seen, here's Gordon Liddy in his pocket. It's a little tiny wrench. They were known as the plumbers because their job was to fix all the leaks. Martha Mitchell on this side, you see there's a telephone. She has not a telephone of today, but a telephone of that time. Her role, or why she is the queen on the blue side, is that she was constantly running to the press by phone. Here's Butterfield. He was the one that revealed to the Watergate Committee that the White House had been bugged. In fact, he was one of the people that helped put in the the wire system. Here's Sam Irvin. He's got a Bible and the Constitution tucked in beside him. He's sitting barefooted in a nightshirt. It's very interesting to me because what happened post-Watergate, I love looking at the set and remembering it and what's going down politically today, how it fits in. Certainly the press has a different role today. Nixon at the time actually labeled the press the enemy of the people. Back then, we hear that phrase today. How Nixon fired many of these people. He fired them when it suited him to try to protect himself and his presidency. I hope anyone viewing this set will take their time, because the secondary story, like the plumber's wrenches in their pockets, like the skull in Sirica's back, hiding behind his back, like the telephone, the Constitution, the hatchet in Colson's belt. All these were symbolic of the role that they played in Watergate. What I would like viewers to take away from the Watergate chess set is its context in history, and reflecting on it how history went before and how history went post-Watergate, and what we can do in the future to make life better or our politics better. I still love chess as a format for presenting oppositional sides to illustrate opposing forces, and particularly the use of 8 players in the back and the pawns. There's always something that's a pawn in the game. I started out as a portrait artist, sitting in malls and sketching people, and I kept looking and I say, but they're not a two-dimensional thing. They're three-dimensional, and I wanted constantly to be making things three-dimensional. So I see three-dimensionally, and I usually do not even draw before I sculpt today. Today I go directly to the three-dimensional. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a chance to see the chess set in person.